your voice was in your wallet. I got that fire. I got that fire. I got that fire. Fire, fire, fire. I got that fire.
414, what it do? Stand up, man. Northside stand up, Black America, Black Milwaukee stand. Sports show on the People's Network on a Tuesday night. Not alone, got my co-host with me, my partner, Coach Tank, man. What's going on with you, bro?
Man, it's all good, bro. It's all good. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I'm a little concerned. I got something on my mind, as you can tell by my somber tone, right? I'm trying to reflect somberness.
Let's chop it up. Let's chop it up, bro.
Before I even go into anything in regards to sports, because we got enough time to do that. This mass shooting in Valde, Texas, right outside San Antonio. 14 kids shot and one teacher so far. Suspect is dead. Right? In Texas, it ain't no coincidence that the suspect is dead. But the tragedy of it, right? I can't even imagine that kind of carnage. Just to even have to see that. 14 children, elementary school children, shot by an adult, right? And allegedly he had killed his grandmother prior to perpetrating this act. But I'm a gun dude, right? Like I love guns. And I believe responsible citizens should be able to own firearms. But we really got to do some about the way people can get access to them, right? It's obviously a lot going on here with this individual. This is coming on the heels of this thing that just happened in Buffalo, in which elderly Black people were intentionally targeted. So, it's heavy on my mind. And as a parent, I couldn't imagine getting that call saying, because you leave your kids at school. I just dropped him off. What you talking about? So, man, prayers and condolences, man. For the families.
Prayers up.
Victims of this. But like I said, there's a conversation that needs to be had in regards to what we're going to do about gun control. And I'm saying gun control. And even though I don't believe in gun control, but there needs to be some kind of regulatory action taken. And don't get me wrong. The issue is not people who are responsible gun owners. It's the criminal element. It's the antisocial element. It's the kind of
it's the mental health.
Right. It's all those kinds of individuals who get access to these guns. So we got to figure out somehow, some way, how to get this tempered, or we're going to probably look at losing this right altogether. Right. Like it's and you don't ever want to be in that situation, but just this loss of life is ridiculous, man.
It's going to become a right. It's going to become a right for the higher privileged.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's always the way it goes, right? Like you want to, if we're going to regulate it, let's regulate the poor people first. And there's a conversation. Shout out to my boy Westside Zeladon. We were having a conversation the other night. Oh yeah, Westside. Was having a conversation. He was saying that he did feel like the average citizen should be able to acquire these kind of high capacity, high powered military grade type firearms. And I disagree, right? I disagree because I feel like, especially as a Black man, I got one because they got one. If they didn't have one, I wouldn't. And then you tell me I couldn't have one, I probably wouldn't feel so bad. But I know that's not the case. And when I say they, I mean those individuals out there who lay in wait to do something like this, right? Like to murder children or to, come up in a grocery store and kill elderly Black people. We had a conversation. We've had many conversations on this show about guns and just the whole energy from our community in our community right now. And it's like I said on one show, I can't calm down until the community calms down.
Right.
As a Black man, I'm on edge because of the kind of, this kind of shit that happens. So I feel the need to say, you know what? I'm about to give me one of them too. Or, a couple of them too, a couple of them and a couple of them.
Right.
Because I feel like that's almost how you have to be. Right. But I feel like you need to be responsible. in your ownership of these weapons. But man, anytime I see something like this, it just make me question the whole thing. It's like, man, some cat just went up in a school, and they say he had a as usual 9mm and an AR-15. Right, that's the cheeseburger and fries. That's what these dudes they have, and with large capacity clips. Right,
Man,
so
I just feel for those kids that had to suffer like that, man. That's so sad, man.
yeah.
It's terrible, man. What can you do though? Besides run somebody's criminal history. You got to check their mental history too, their mental health, and then how do you do that in 30 days before you give them a gun when they come in to buy a gun? So yeah, you're right. It's the gun buying system has to be rehauled. Something has to change, and it has to change quick because right now it's too many guns, let alone on the street, and it's too many people too many inappropriate people handling guns. So yeah, we got to do something fast.
So the initial inclination is to say, well, let's get some sort of database and put people who purchase these weapons in there, and let's keep track of them that way, which I don't trust either, because then that becomes a situation where now you could make up a reason because my name is on that list as a black man to just run up in my shit, right? Or to just come after me, right? Like, so I feel like
Right.
that is, but the thing is if you buy legal guns and you think that there's not some sort of database, because they can trace that serial number to you. So if you think, I think it would be foolish of me to even think that there's not some sort of database. So if that's the case, what we're really talking about is people who don't worry about serial numbers or purchasing firearms legally. Because, the people who ain't supposed to have guns got more of them than people who aren't supposed to have. So it's like, okay, and I think it might just take like, man, I don't know. I want to give an answer like in the wake of this. What can you say? I don't want to be an armchair quarterback. I do think that there's something that needs to be done. I think you have to start with the gun conventions and gun shows, where a lot of
Right.
people just go and you can circumvent a lot of the processes that you may have to go through if you went like the route of going into the store and purchasing the firearm. I think that's where you start. But I've always looked at ammunition as well, and it's like we just during COVID, if you're not a gun person, you don't know, like, because gun people, they like to go to the range and they like to shoot, but then this is ammunition shortage as a result of the pandemic, and it was horrible. Like, I mean, you paying so much money for a box of bullets, like it became a thing. So I don't know if
Yeah,
further
'cause so many
regulation,
people bought guns during the pandemic.
right?
That
So
that also caused the shortage. Because I guess people figure they can shoot the virus. I don't know,
no, I
but yeah,
think people were more concerned with some kind of mass chaotic event, like some kind of
like it was
um
gonna purge. Like
not even necessarily that, but something where this pandemic, this sickness that we don't know about could have manifested itself as something like a plague, or like, to be funny, to be honest with you, when people talk about a zombie apocalypse, like, there are people who really believe, like, you don't know when something that they put in the food or the water is going to turn people into like savages, and I had to defend whatever. I guess a lot of us just have our fantasy is a lifelong X-Men comic book, um
right,
and myself included. Like, I don't listen, I'd rather err on the side of caution when it comes to firearms. That's how I've always felt. Like, because I look
right.
at Black Wall Street, I look at Rosewood, I look at all these situations, all of the different race riots over the years in which some event happened and people just went ham on black people. Just fuck it, let's kill them. I've always felt like, nah, I'm gonna be the dude in the story where they'd be like, man, there was this one black dude. He was
Right.
not having that shit, right? It took a whole police force to take this dude out, which I'm pretty sure they ultimately do. You know what I mean, or whatever. But I'm saying, I've always felt like I just stay ready,
Right.
right? So I don't have to be like, oh shit, where am I? I wish I had.
At
No.
least have a
It's right
fighting
here.
chance.
Which that in itself doesn't even guarantee that. There's no guarantees, right? Like, so. But yeah, y'all, 262-202-5131. It is the Big Black Sports Show still. Just kind of giving it up, man, for the people, for them babies, man. I felt some kind of way. We talked about this. I felt some kind of way about the elderly black people that were, and this was a situation where this dude, intentionally targeted people of color, right? Like supposedly, like he aimed his rifle at a white security guard and was like, "Oh, my bad, man. I almost killed you, man. I ain't come for you. I came for these black people." And so I felt some kind of way about that. But then when you tack on this many children murdered at one time, it make it even sadder, man. Too much partisan politics.
Right.
Both sides, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We should do this, we should do that. People say they're gonna take our guns and all of that. I don't think we as free people should be scared of a little regulation, but I'm always aware when there's a potential for over-regulation.
Right.
So, man, as sad as it is, what is our strategy, or what should it be for protecting our schools moving forward? Is there a need now to say, no, we got to keep some armed security within? Because how many children have come up missing, especially in the era where there's sex trafficking and all this kind of stuff where children disappear? Wouldn't it be smart to even just implement some sort of programs where we can have some armed protection around our schools to protect our kids, man? I mean, maybe it's just gotten to that point. What you think about that?
Well, the security has to be functional, because there's been some shootings in the past where security guard was present and the shooting still happened.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly which incident that was. I think it was in Florida. But where an armed security guard cut tail and ran. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want that smoke. So the security has to be functional. And then, the price tag of it, implementing in the schools, that's going to cost a lot of money.
I thought that was Sandy Hook, where the security guard was like, "I'm out of this motherfucker." As soon as when the shit went down, he was like, "I am going home." Right? Like,
right.
I thought it was Sandy Hook. It might not have been. I may be, but I do remember. I recall an incident that you're talking about. So
Trump of all people called him a coward.
Yeah, he hit it. He was like, "Nah, I don't make a shit. I only make $12 an hour. Y'all tripping."
Right.
But I agree. But see, we had a situation here in Milwaukee where we had resource officers in the schools, and the Milwaukee Police Department was actually charging MPS, I believe, in upwards of $100,000 a year. Maybe it was 85, maybe it was 100. And so MPS just cut the fat. Like, nah, I'm good. We straight. But then there's people who say, do we necessarily want this? Do we want police officers? Because look here in Kenosha, where the officer, the off-duty officer, is working as a resource security in the school, and he puts his knee on the back of a 12-year-old girl's head for 30 seconds, trying to break up a fight. Talking about he blacked out. See, we get into all kinds of situations when we start trying to take measures to do something. I'm gonna tell you, because people in general are bad. There's no way you can bring a bunch of people and get them all involved with something without at least 2 or 3 of the motherfuckers going left, right?
I think in Milwaukee, the students has lost respect for police because of their presence in the schools. I think it had a reverse effect. You would figure that, okay, the police, they'll definitely get themselves in line now. No, I think it had a reverse effect, and it shows. It showed this year, with the kids taunting the police when they would steal cars. They would steal the cars and actually fuck with the police to have fun. So that's definitely a lack of respect for authority. So we got a lot of issues, man. Besides just the gun violence. It's the kids with the attitudes that also get a hold of the guns.
Well, I don't want to put it all on kids. I think we got to understand that.
Not all on the kids, but a lot. Well, a good portion of the violence has to do with the youngins out here. Wild, they're pretty wild.
But in terms of talking about it, when you're talking about the relationship between law enforcement and I'm gonna speak in specifics. The relationship between law enforcement and the black community. is a very tense one. And I've said this many times, and I'm a person that loves to like just do like historical references, right? So historically, when we look at what law enforcement has represented for us in our community, they've been contributors to a lot of oppressive things, right? Like
Right.
from systematic homicide of leaders to rob. I'm watching right now. I'm watching the show in Baltimore called "We Own This City" on HBO about the gun trace task force that was out during the Freddie Gray, right in the aftermath and preceding that. And these cops was just straight robbing people, just regular people. It got to the point where it wasn't even just robbing dope dealers; it was just robbing people, playing guns, playing dope. So people might say you being paranoid, but watch and see. Anytime you add law enforcement presence, something happens, right? Something happens. So our relationship, yeah, we black people, we be like most black people, like fuck the police, right? Because you've had so many negative interactions with them. I'm not saying
Right.
there's not need for police or policing. I'm just saying our relationship with law enforcement in this country is tenuous, right? Because we always side on them. You go all the way back. Who was really over the Klan back in the days? We're in the South when we were down there. It was usually the sheriff of the town. He was usually the
Right.
crookedest motherfucking nail in the plank. So you couldn't trust. We just don't have. We just don't. We're not able to trust law enforcement like that. And so once again, we start asking the questions about community policing and what that might look like. Because to have volunteers, you know, but it's not like to say regular people ain't retarded too. Like it don't just count for cops. Like you think you got somebody in the school who's gonna be protecting the kids. He's doing all kinds of crazy shit. It's just, man, that's why I say this country, we got some issues in terms of our morality in this country. And this dude who killed these children, like this, like I say, allegedly had murdered his own grandmother, right? Like prior to this. So this is people gonna say mental health, right? Some people even said mental health for Buffalo, but this dude had the names of elderly women who were run over here in Kenosha at the parade, and he was a pronounced white supremacist. See, people like that's who I
Right.
wondered. How do people like that slip through the cracks? Like somebody who's showing all the signs and the symbols, and I'm gonna bet you a dime to a dollar. Most of the time, the feds know who's who because they listening
Right.
to all of it.
Because how did they
So
gather up that information so fast on them so quick
right,
when they
right,
identified who the shooter was? You
right.
know, I heard this guy had a camera to tape the shooting,
Live, yeah,
tape
it was a live stream, yeah.
and body armor and all kind of shit. And so man, at some point, you know, law enforcement has to do more to prevent than react to crime. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're not doing enough prevention. They react to crime after it's said and done, but do more to try to prevent it.
Right.
This dude had to be on he had to be on somebody's FBI list.
Well, no, we're talking about
I
we're talking
mean,
about the Buffalo shooter, right?
right? He
Talk,
had to be on somebody's either FBI, CIA's. He had to be on somebody's list. I I figured that once you visit those type of websites and shit, that automatically makes you a suspect. From what I heard,
it should, and once again, we get down to we know they listening, we know they watching, but so why aren't they stopping some of the things that are happening? I mean, are they falling asleep at the wheel? It's a conversation we'll
right?
have. We'll have that conversation on Outlaw Radio in some upcoming episodes. Get with us tomorrow. Tomorrow on Outlaw Radio, I'll have Ajamu Butler. I'm sure we'll have this conversation on there too because he's about to do Heal the Hood this Saturday, this upcoming Saturday. So we always talk about what's going on in the community, but it's still a big black show, man. The big black sports show, still a big black sports show. Rest in peace to them babies, man. Prayers to them parents.
Yes,
Yeah, man. We got to figure something out in this country. We got a situation, as they say.
right.
So yeah, man. Lot going down in sports. I can start off right, like we just might as well jump into Nick Saban, right? Like, um, if I'm a little bit racist was a person, right? Like, come on, man. Nick Saban, who is for all intents and purposes, I look at him like a plantation owner, right? But you
Right.
are one of the coldest games in this country is the whole human trafficking of athletes right? Like, as we talk about a lot of sex trafficking and all of that, but we got a system in place where there's a meat market held for actual men, right, to play in these leagues. And so he's the one who gets them initially, well, out of high school, and he molds them and prepares them for the market.
Right.
But so we have watched, if you're a sports guy like we are, we have watched over the last year Deion Sanders really come into Jackson State and be able to bring a very bright light to HBCU sports, in particular HBCU football. And Deion brought so much credibility with him, because he's prime, right? Like, everybody's like one of the greatest football players to ever play the game, but he also happens to be a very good coach
Right.
and a very insightful brother when it comes to his own people, because he's raising sons, right? And so I watched him come in, and Jackson State has, I'm pretty sure the bank accounts down there is, the university is very pleased with Mr. Sanders being the head coach, but that's not the point. The point is, a very long time ago, major Division I colleges, Division 1A colleges, or what they call them now, championship, BCS, is that what they call them? So
I'm not
the, the
familiar.
the big colleges, they didn't allow black players, especially in the SEC. A lot of those Southern schools didn't allow them to have black players. And so there was the great glory days of Ole Miss and Mississippi State and Texas A&M and Alabama with Bear Bryant and all these white dudes. You look at them teams, they all white dudes, because they wasn't allowing them to bring black players in. So as a result, all of the players went to the HBCUs. That's how you get a Grambling, a Southern, a Howard. You get all these Florida A&M. You get these powerhouses that were built because that's where the black athletes had to go.
Right.
And so, but then it changed. So then they start, if you know the story about USC going to play Alabama, you go look that up. Go look at Bear Bryant and John McKay on a nationally televised game where USC is loaded with black players and Alabama's like number one in the country, and they mostly lily white, and they get their asses handed to them. And from then on, the SEC said, we got to go get us some niggers. They might
Yeah.
didn't say that. I made that up. But yeah, so the game has changed, right? And so for years,
Right.
once they start admitting those players, now you get Florida, Miami, Florida State, Penn State. You get, and I'm just randomly naming off schools. In particular, the SEC now is looked upon as the best conference in football, and it got to be 95% black in terms of the players, right? And
Right.
I'm if you know a different number, let me know. I'm saying all that to say, for years, these fat cats have been making millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. They're still selling your jersey when your ass is gone and retired, right? They're still making money off of that. They've built, you look at some of the stories, like look at Miami. They've refurbished their entire campus and built fucking skyscrapers on campus off the football revenue, right? So, but who made up the majority of those teams? Brothers, right? Brothers from
That's
poor
right.
brothers from the hood. So for years, if you took anything and you got caught allegedly, you lost your eligibility. Now you have these NIL deals, name and likeness, right? So you can get paid off your image. If you on that team and you balling in a local hardware store, say, hey man, do a commercial for us. We give you $10,000. You can do it. So what the major schools have found themselves scrambling for is, God damn, it's now kids are making that choice for the school based on that NIL too.
Right.
So he accused Deion Sanders because Deion Sanders ran a whoop-de-whoop on him and got the number one recruit in the nation. And he chose Jackson State over all those football factories with $1 million facilities and hundreds of billions of dollars invested, because they got NFL alumni who contribute and what have you, NFL coaches who, all those dudes, they contribute. So he accused Deion he said Jackson State paid him $1 million. Prime was upset. And he accused Texas A&M with Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher
Right.
was too. So did you
Yeah.
see this? Was you watching this?
Yeah, I watched it. Jimbo was hot.
Okay.
Jimbo was hot.
So what you think
And
about the
rightfully so.
email?
Jimbo and Deion Sanders had a right to be upset. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, Saban was talking to his boosters. I kind of agree with Deion when he was like, hey, I understand the fact that, he's talking to his boosters. He's talking to alumni. He's trying to let them know that the playing field has changed now. And if you want us to keep the best of the best coming here, then you got to open up those pockets a little more and make room for the NILs. Now you got a lot of boosters and a lot of alumni that have big businesses, and hey, they can afford the luxury of taking care of some of these kids with the NILs.
Right.
So I understand it, but at the same time, you weren't accurate. You weren't accurate with what you said. The kid himself said, I think he tweeted, I got $1 million, but my mother stays in a 3-bedroom house with 5 kids.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
You
did.
know, so yeah, at least make it accurate. You know what I'm saying?
See, I get what Nick Saban was saying, right? But you got to be careful, right? Because you the fat cat here,
right?
And I hear people saying, well, if you think about how much an education or college tuition actually costs nowadays, we're giving this kid an education that's worth $50,000-$60,000 a year, right? There's a couple different things to that kind of ideology. First of all, if you add up his entire, say he stays there 4 years and you pay $50,000 a year for him to go to school each year, which would be what, $200,000. All right. But if you have a stadium that has 87,000 people and his jersey is the #1 seller, and you have a TV deal with NBC and ABC, and you have an apparel deal with Nike, and you have an apparel deal with Reebok or whoever else, right?
Right.
You stand in and you go to a bowl game, right? You stand in the way to make about $50 or $60 million just that year. So I figure he's already covered his investment. Now you owe him.
Exactly.
Now you owe, right? Now you owe him some money. So also we got to look at the fact that, okay, this education I'm an education guy. I believe in higher learning and all of that. But let's look at the reality of it. The average college student that goes there, that pays tuition and whatnot, but they're not bringing in $2-3 million for the school.
Right.
They're not going to be responsible for a new wing on the research center getting built. So it should be there should have always been some sort of compensation for athletes on that level, right? So
right.
So I think the NIL deals are good. Shout out to Ace Cooley. He said he's pissed because Deion getting recruits on name and reputation alone. A lot of black kids are choosing to go to HBCUs because they're tired of the NCAA bullshit. Look at the Fab Five. The Fab Five is another example of it, right? Like, and there's some situations like if you look at UNLV where Jerry Tarkanian was back in the days, like, dude, I don't let the motherfuckers get some money. Look, you know how much money we're making? Listen,
right.
Nick Saban, you make millions of dollars per year. Nobody says anything about your salary, right? But you got a problem because you said they gave a kid $1 million. Are you scared he's gonna move in next door to you or something? Like, I don't like this is literally the definition of counting another man's money, right? And so, and it once again, it reeks of racism. Because I can imagine all these old rednecks and all these old white dudes who used to really, and they play checkers and chess with a lot of young men's lives. Because for every young man that makes it through in the first round, he's a first round draft pick and he went to the league and it's a success story. It's probably about 50 more who came through there, got hurt, came through there, flunked out, got arrested, that you didn't like personally, so you screwed over. Those stories go on and on and on and on and on.
Yes.
So why not? Why not compensate them, man? It's no reason for me to be making you hundreds of millions of dollars when my family's struggling. They get to watch me on TV. See, that's some old slave shit. That's some old. You can tell that's some shit set forward when Jim Crow was in control in the South, right? Like, it was like, oh, don't worry about them. Don't worry about them boys. They will feed the niggers every day.
And man, a lot of Division I athletes, a lot of those kids, their parents move with them. They move to the state or to the city that they're going to school with, going to school at. They move with their kids, not to so much as giving them support. They're looking at the kid like the kid is their support.
Well, it becomes that. Well, I mean, if you're it becomes that. If little Shawty now he got, the potential to make hundreds of millions of dollars, and we talking about a lot of times these young men are the link to busting up about 3 or 4 generations of poverty.
Yes,
A lot of times.
right,
Sometimes it's a well-to-do family that got their thing going. They was, oh, that's good. You know, he made it to the league or whatever. But a lot of times it's a kid who comes from, some real
right.
questionable circumstances. So
And those people are so excited and with anticipation and everything that they move with their kid. And some programs, kind of assist with that.
well,
You
there's a
know,
lot of money. There's a lot of money. You see this all the time in basketball with the controversy with the AAU basketball and whatnot, because there's so much money being exchanged by these major programs, and it's always been done. Like, so that's what I'm looking at Nick Saban. Like, bro, you act like this ain't big time college football. Like, you know the
right,
game, you know how this shit goes. And he also accused Texas A&M. And so people say it's not racist because he accused Texas A&M because Texas A&M had the number one recruiting class. And normally Alabama, Georgia kind of go back and Ohio State go back and forth with who's going to have the number one
right.
recruiting class, right?
And
And
it's
so
right.
so he went at Texas A&M, and Jimbo Fisher, he a good old boy too. He almost told some shit on Nick Saban. Then he said, go back and
Hey, he
check the
pretty much did. He pretty
record."
much did. Hey, just go back and talk to everybody he's been affiliated with.
Right. Oh, Jimbo said no. No, no, no. I'm white. I'm white too,
Man.
right?
But see, what Nick Saban has is an overabundance of talent. He got kids that his third, fourth, and fifth string kids, they hit the transporter portal and they get scooped up within a matter of minutes. You know what I'm saying? Because of the quality of player that they are in the program that you just spent the year in. So his thing is trying to maintain his talent pool.
Right.
And it's going to be harder to do that with these NILs out here. And
Yeah.
when you got coaches who have star power, like Deion Sanders, you got to start to have more ex-NFL coaches take on these jobs that have star power that can also help draw those kids to their programs. He's got to realize, man, it's more competition out here for you now, bro. It's much more competition out here for you now. You're going to keep getting the best players as long as you keep winning championships, but you're not going to have that overabundance like you had. You're not going to be able to be the overseer where you can snap at kids and shit and go off on them and scare the shit out of them, make them piss on themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because they're so worried that, oh, if I piss coach off, I'm out of here.
Right.
You know, you start to lose some of that power. Because you're right. The thing that I don't like about Nick Saban is his coaching style. Like you say, he has that old school ass coaching style where, and I've seen it every year when you watch his spring games and things like that, where he's just going off on the players, snapping on them and berating them, a little bit too much. I think there's a time and place for all of that, but he's a little over the top with it.
Ace Cooley said not only that, they couldn't even work, couldn't accept gifts. The NCAA wanted their souls. They wanted the money. Once again, I think this the way they move is just an extension of how the Southern kind of the way this country is set up. Period. Well, you fuck over the little people, and rich people make more money. Like what they say, the rich keep getting richer. As far as Nick Saban goes, I want to say this: just knowing football and just being a former football player, most great coaches are assholes. I'm here to tell y'all that.
That's true.
Most of the greatest football coaches are egomaniacal, control freak type or extreme, on edge, emotional. Like Joe Paterno was probably the most evenly killed one I'd ever seen, but he was like already 3,000 years old by the time I got old enough to see him, right? I'm pretty sure he didn't start out that way. So and so most of the time great football coaches they do have that kind of Saban, especially when you've commanded the kind of respect and nobody can take his achievements away from him. It's just like your man Belichick's an ass, right? People know that, right? Like, so and he's probably the greatest football coach ever. So it's Bobby Knight. Look, right, you're right, Ace Cooley, Bobby Knight. The names go on and on of great coaches, and you be like spending a lifetime looking at these coaches saying, "Oh man, I would love to play for him and all that."
You see, I
Until you
can,
talk to somebody who played for him, and then they be like, "No, you would not have wanted to play for that motherfucker."
but for every Bobby Knight, you do have, and I agree. I believe this is my take on coaching. When it comes to head coaching, you got two different types of coaches. You have a guy who is hands on, and you have a delegator, right? And what I mean by that is you got one coach who he got his hands on everything. He's all over the field during practice. He's checking out everybody's indies. He's all over the place. Then you got the one coach who stands in one place the entire practice and just delegates. Okay, you take care of this. You take care of that. You take care of that. Right? But they both can still be very, very strict in how they do it. But my thing is, I don't like I said, I don't like the coach that becomes too maniacal with the players, especially when they make a mistake or two. And like I said, and with those type of coaches like Nick Saban that knows he has an overabundance of talent, he tends to take it overboard because I know if I break you, I got one behind you that might even be better.
You know what?
So
Tank,
he uses. So
I think
coaches
you
like him
underselling
use that to keep the players in line.
I think you underselling it. I don't think he even has to demean or I don't think he has to say much to his players. Because I know, if I'm a 5-star recruit and I'm an All-American and I'm Mr. Football in my state and I'm the best thing since grits and I get to campus and it's 7 more dudes like that and 3 that's hurt sitting over here that was like that. I don't think you already know. Like the standard is so high because he's not dealing with players who fuck up a lot. Now I'm pretty
Right.
sure, but it takes some energy and it takes some psychology to be able to manage. You can have all that talent, but you got to manage it. So his personal coaching style, it is what it is. I mean, I just feel like on this issue, I think he's looking back a little bit. But I'm gonna say what I always say to these kinds of like dudes, like, what you worried about? It doesn't affect your pay. Now he might be saying, well, this is gonna affect me because long term these championships are going to stop. That's so far down the road. This is just beginning because you still going to get, like, maybe you didn't get that number 1, but he probably got 5, 6, 7, and 8 in terms of how the recruits are ranked. I'm pretty sure you still have a top 3 recruiting class. I
Right.
just think that's why I say
Out of that top 10, I would like to see the top 10 recruits. How many of those kids did Alabama sign?
They got a lot of. It's Alabama, right?
I bet they at least got 5 of them.
I bet you they got more than that. Right, and that's just the 5 stars. You talk about 4s and 3s. They
Now,
probably
he did mention that we could be wrong because he did mention that Texas A&M had the best recruiting class this year.
But they had the top recruiting class. That's just one though. That's it's 10.
So what made them the top recruiting class? They had to have at least 3 of those top 10.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have to break it down and see if y'all know. If you're watching, how many does it take for you to have a top recruiting class? Like, what's the number of top recruits? But once again, there was more recruits than just this young brother. There was some 5 stars and some 4 stars who went to black colleges this year.
Right.
And it's not just Jackson State. It kind of started, and like you stated, there's a movement now of NFL players who cannot keep this in mind now. You don't want to give them an opportunity in the NFL. They got to go to fight like cats and dogs to get that. These black colleges are saying, come on in. We'll give you a job. Let's make some money and get you,
right.
And so I think it can only help. I think it can only help black college football, black college sports. I don't see it happening in basketball just yet, but I can see it in football. Ace Cooley said coaches seem to do better because they actually give a damn about the player. Deion didn't have to do it. This was his contribution for HBCUs. He said it himself. He could have had coached in the league. Deion Sanders could have he could have coached in the league easy.
Deion Sanders was seeking another job last year anyway. He was seeking another. He almost got hired by Florida school.
Well, they were saying they wanted him to take Florida State, but he didn't. He because his sons are there. So
But even with his sons at Jackson State, even with the toe surgery, Deion still was considered for another job somewhere else, and he considered it. So even though even though he's at the HBCU, he almost left.
Well,
He almost turned his back on what he was building.
Ultimately, that's how you would stop the momentum of this whole thing. Is you say, look, we ain't gonna have that kind of shit going on in HBCUs. We're just gonna hire them coaches. So normally you would come in there and say, Deion, we'll write you a check, and you come over here, coach, because he could have took Florida State when Jimbo Fisher left. But here's the deal: I think Deion is hip to the game that, well, like, why would I jump on that? Like, because then I'm still jumping on somebody else's shit when I got the chance to build my own and do something for the people. I've heard people say Deion don't care about nobody but himself. Yada yada yada. I think that's not accurate because by now I think he, like you said, he could have been jumped. He could have went. How many D1A programs have been available that would have been happy to bring him in? So I think he did this with a real nod towards, you know what, I'm gonna do this for the people, man. I'm gonna do this for the people. So shout out to Deion Sanders, man. I dug him. I was kind of salty that they lost last year. They lost that championship game. They got handled bad too.
Right.
I can't remember the school. It wasn't Southern. Who was it? They put hands and feet on them because
South Carolina State.
Yes, that's who it was. Yes, that's who it was. But you know what? It brought so much light. There was a bunch of black players from black colleges that got drafted where normally they've been ignoring these kids.
Right.
So
drafted and asked to come to camp. A lot of them were asked to come as unrestricted free agents to try out after the draft too. So that was a good move for them. But the next 2 or 3 years, man, I want to see some HBCU kids at least drafted in the top 25.
You know what? For me, it ain't even the draft. You know what I like to see? I like to see a HBCU build itself up the way, like, because if you look at like Florida State, they laugh about Florida State was a nursing school. Miami, nobody went to Miami. Nobody cared about them schools. They was just little dots on the map that happened to have a football team. I'd like to see a HBCU bubble up like that and become a major player by just, getting a bunch of young brothers who come out there and compete and actually be able to win a natty.
Right. Wouldn't it be great to see them actually get ranked high enough to compete for a natty?
That would be cool. I would love to see that. I would love to see a Howard or Southern or Grambling come to the Rose Bowl and beat Oregon or USC or something.
I think it's possible.
Well, we're a long way right now.
I think it's possible if the coaches are successful and they stay put for a while.
Yeah. If
they got to establish the programs. You know what I'm saying?
So what has to happen is the money has to start flowing and the coaches will have to be compensated. Like and I think it will turn into that. I think because once these schools, especially these small schools see, look, if I start winning football games and packing out that stadium, 20,000, 30,000, and we charging $20, $30 a head, selling T-shirts and hot dogs and hamburgers, man, all of a sudden the school is doing very well financially. I think once they see that money, because you can't imagine, Michigan, the stadium at Michigan holds 115,000 people, right? And it's sold out every week, and every game is on television. They getting it like it don't make sense to get it, right? Like, so, and they do that with every sport almost, especially with basketball and football. They making a killing. So why not see some of these black schools be able to participate in that? Ace Cooley said the problem comes with the TV time. The SEC, I think you mean the SEC tends to haul all the TV contracts. Well, that's right now because they got the best players. They have the best talent. That's what I'm saying. If you get a black conference that becomes kind of like a home where all of a sudden that's where the people are at, those TV deals will change. And then you'll hear these white schools, these historically white colleges and universities. Shout out to white colleges and universities too, because I didn't go to no HBCU. I didn't even get recruited by HBCU because during that time they said they didn't even come up here, right? Like I wanted to go to Central State, like because that was the only HBCU that was in the North that I was aware of. And so I think they ended up like losing football a couple of years into my college career. So, but I went to a straight up white school, and because I wanted to go to Hampton. I tried to go to Hampton. They gave me the, and it wasn't. I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't because I wasn't good. It was just because technically, um, 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 it's just technically that they didn't recruit this part of the country, and the way they look at the South and football, it's a different level. They like because he would tell me, "Quick, you ain't even big enough." Like basically, is what he said. You're not even big enough. I'm like, I'm 260 pounds. He like, oh, that's funny. Like we play the big boy, so it's one of those things. Sean Moore said, "What's up with all the applause, though, bro?" I was giving like I said, shout out to the historically white colleges and universities, man. They put a couple certificates on my chest. I gave it up for them, man. Shoot. And you had a story about the HBCUs too. What's going on now? Some bullshit happened. What happened?
Who is this?
I was talking to you about the. You said your story about the HBCUs with the girls who got.
Oh
raped.
yes.
Like,
April 20th. An incident went down in Georgia. The Delaware State women's lacrosse team was pulled over by Georgia State troopers, and their bus was checked. The travel bus was checked, and the guys got on there and told them that they're going to search them for marijuana. And this clip can be pulled up on MSNBC. I watched it on YouTube, and it's actual footage of the officers on the bus ordering the girls to give up all of their belongings so they can search it. So they searched all of their belongings for marijuana and didn't find anything. They even opened things up, travel gifts and shit like that. So the president of Delaware State filed a formal complaint with the Department of Justice a few weeks ago to investigate the matter, man. But you guys need to see this, man. Pull it up on YouTube. The Delaware State lacrosse team, HBCU, young black ladies, man. They pretty much terrorized these young ladies, man, pulling them over like that. They didn't even know. They were pulling the bus over, but they didn't know that it was a bus full of young black women.
So the bus didn't have anything on the side that said this is Delaware State or anything like that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
First of all, let me say I'm glad they didn't pull the bus over when I was in school coming back from one of our road games or something, because we always had weed. Like, so it would have been fucked up. All our asses would have been locked up.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing about the clip. There was no probable cause about marijuana. They didn't state that they smelled marijuana. They just told them, hey, look, if you guys got marijuana, let us know right now. If you don't let us know, then we can't help you. Gave them a snow job. You know what I'm saying? And proceeded to go through their shit, man. Had them on the sidewalk, on the road, side of the road, going through their belongings, dude. It pissed me off just watching it. It was sad, man.
I think the saddest part of this is they still looking for marijuana. Like that shouldn't be something to even pull a whole bus over for. Like, I guess if somebody gave you a tip and you said it's 17 pounds, even then, come on, man, you gotta let that shit go. Yeah. I think we need to get over weed. Like there shouldn't be legalized, man. Come on, decriminalize, right? We already know that the way you establish this is based on racism in the first place. Don't even give me.
Would you use marijuana Would you use marijuana as a tool to try to search a bus full of white kids?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
But my thing is, if you don't have probable cause, then why are you searching for it? If you don't smell it, if you didn't get a tip that there was marijuana on this bus, then why are you searching for marijuana? Why that in particular?
Right. That's what I'm saying. There must have been some sort of report. I would have to.
Sounds like it sounds like that bullshit.
I don't know, man. I don't see it. I don't see that. I don't see it as bad as you. Like I'm like, because I mean, if police is, I don't know the situations or where were they at. People be mad at me like, Kev, you know that's some bullshit. I'm just saying we always make rash decisions about things, and we don't know who was actually on that bus. And I'm not saying there's somebody on, like there could have been a young lady or somebody. Maybe somebody did smell marijuana. Maybe they stopped at the gas station and somebody did like we used to do, run
But
around behind the gas station and hit the weed, and now it smells like weed.
I suggest people pull that clip up on YouTube. It's on
Yeah,
MSNBC.
you got to
I'm
share it
sorry.
in the People's News Network. Just you share it in the People's News Network.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, take a look at that clip and decide for yourself then what you may think about it, because it pissed me off, man. It was pretty blatant. It was pretty blatant.
But you said they didn't know. So once they got on there and they seen it was all black girls, you saying that's when they decided, okay, we're gonna look for some weed since there's all black girls.
Right.
Okay. I don't know. It could be. You could be on to something there, young man. I don't know.
Because like I said, you gotta have probable cause. And the first thing, and one thing I did notice about the clip, the officers were letting the girls know, hey, marijuana is still illegal in Georgia. But like I say, if you don't have probable cause, if you don't smell it, and you didn't get a tip that there was some marijuana on that bus, why are you looking for marijuana?
I will say this though. Tour buses, like even with celebrities, get pulled over all the time. And that's how they get caught. Like, so if you see a bus, we in Georgia, we know a lot of musical acts, Snoop Dogg and them coming through here.
Right.
And I'm just playing devil's advocate for people come, Kevin, that bullshit. Shout out to Sean Moore. He said he watching it now. There's no identifiers on the bus. Got pulled over for being in the left lane. The audio and video shows and proves profiling. They didn't say they smelled anything, but stated they probably have marijuana and proceeded to check. No probable cause. Got you. There we go. Now see this one for you, Sean.
Hey, you're looking out, Sean.
He ain't mad about them applause. Like, no, I ain't mad about that. That's cool. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Now that provides more detail and more context to the situation for myself, right? Like, because I need clarity. I'm not quick to jump to no conclusion, man. Because like I said, people are bad, man. People do crazy shit. You never know. He said he deserves those applause. So do, man. So do. All of us deserve
yes,
applause.
sir.
But yeah, okay. So then now we talking about some litigation. We talking about some lawsuits, right? We talking about some lawyers.
Well, the president of the school did state that, hey, we're filing our complaint as the school, but the individuals on that bus, they have options too.
Okay.
So he kind of implied that, hey, this ain't the end of it. Yeah, and rightfully so.
A lot of times, especially as a poor college student, that's what's gonna make this bad. Is a lot of times people just don't got the money to or the time to go through with it. Like, it's like, man, we got to get all the way back to Delaware and go to court. Now we got Georgia State. So this should be something the school should jump into. They should take the lead on this. Like, okay, no, we're gonna represent our athletes.
They did. They filed a formal complaint with the Department of Justice.
Okay.
So they pretty much did the highest form of trying to hold somebody accountable. But yeah, other than that,
I'm thinking civil litigation. And black people, we always thinking about a check. How can we get a check? Shit, I can drop out of school. That's my own personal NIL. Man. I mean, you do play lacrosse. No, I don't want to diss lacrosse.
Those officers definitely need to have their jobs yanked, though.
Yeah, but don't you kind of expect that from a bunch of redneck cops in Georgia, though, once they see some black? Let's look for marijuana, Bubba. Right? Like, and they go to it's over here, Bill. Look over here. That's what you expect.
That's the thing that hurts him. That's the thing that hurts more. It wasn't the men's cross team, it was the women. Protecting our women, protecting our girls. You're attacking our young ladies. You're attacking our daughters. You're attacking our nieces. You're attacking our little sisters now. You know what I'm saying? We can't protect them. Obviously, we can't protect them at all times. So this is what we got to have to count on. Dirty ass Georgia officers. No, those guys need to lose their jobs and they need to be exposed.
They do, but I'm surprised at your reaction. I'm like, did you just move to America? Like, what TV show you been watching? Like, you like they're attacking
Hey,
our girls, they're attacking. Like, really? You surprised? This surprises you. You seem like you taken aback by it. Like,
it's just
real.
happening. It's just happening so much, man. And it seems like it's happening more and more now. And at some point, you get to, hey, how do we stop this shit?
Now you're going back to what I just talked about in the beginning of the show when I was talking about the shooters, and we want to implement regulation, and people talk about putting more law enforcement here and there, and I said this is the reason once again why black people have this crazy relationship with law enforcement. Like, that's why we don't listen. If you're a black person, you know that all these racist organizations, the Klan, the Nazi, neo-Nazis, whoever, whatever, how you put it, the alt-right, Tea Party, whatever, tea baggers, whatever they are, you know that they've infiltrated every organization in this country, and in particular law enforcement,
That's right.
especially in the South. Like, you know that this is So I'm like, man, I'm glad that they didn't shoot one of them young sisters. Like, I'm glad, or turn some dogs loose on them. You're right. This is what's happening in America, and we have a situation. We have a situation, so we got to figure out, okay, where's the line of accountability for law enforcement? And over and over and over and over and over again, we refer to them as like habitual line steppers, right?
Right.
Like, constantly some bullshit. And you want to say, okay, I'm gonna call the police. And that's what I'm saying. If you haven't watched this show on HBO, We Own This City, about the gun trace task force in Baltimore, and you see, like,
Man.
the people, the interaction between the cops and the citizens tells it all. When the people of Baltimore are saying, dude, we don't nobody here fuck police is the dirtiest birds, and it's dudes who's just not even in the life saying that they robbed me. I'm like, they will take your shit. Like, it's like, this has been happening for a very long time. This is why it makes no sense that Colin can't play, and because what did he kneel for? He kneeled to say this is some bullshit. And white people said, no, that's some bullshit. You can't throw the ball no more, nigger. You know.
Like I say, I feel a little differently with that subject with Colin. I think Colin can, there's other leagues out here that he can actually play in and star in, and I think it's up to him to make that choice, to make that move. I mean, why do we have to beg why beg the NFL to come back in? They don't want you. Take your talent somewhere else. Take your star power somewhere else.
Well,
take your.
I hear you on that end, but once again, this all started because he made a statement about
right
what's going on with the police, right? So whether or not he begs to come back in or not, it's unjust and unfair for them to be able to do what they've done simply because he made a statement. He basically was stating the obvious because he just made a statement about what we just got done talking about. So now the argument on where he gonna play at, that's totally different. If he don't want to go play Arena League football, then that's all then don't go. It's up to him, but I think he shouldn't be ostracized from the league because he stated the obvious. Shout out to Ace Cooley. He said, shit, you got gangs within the sheriff departments out in California. You absolutely do.
Oh yeah, they're all over the police. You got gangs in damn near every police department.
Sean Moore said the USFL for Colin, which Tank has been an advocate of for a very long time, right? You've been saying that. And I did get to watch the USFL over the weekend. And so I wanted to give kind of like my overall opinion of the USFL. Now, number one, I didn't know who anybody was, but a lot of these dudes, attended and played for major colleges and have had some NFL experience. So the quality of football is pretty good. Like, it wasn't like, in the past you've seen some leagues and you're like, where they get these motherfuckers from? They had some athletes, but it was easy to see why some of them dudes ain't in the league, like receivers who drop balls. He's fast, he's tall, he can jump, he can run, but he can't always catch. A DB who can press cover, but you can't put him in zone. Like, it's his whatever his flaw was that he couldn't get in the league, you seen it on there. But it wasn't bad. It was pretty good, actually. I mean, because I enjoy watching football, so. But I don't think Colin Kaepernick should play in the USFL. I personally don't. I feel like because I feel like he didn't do anything to be removed from the NFL. And I feel like it's unjust for him to not receive another opportunity, right? Like, what? That's the second place shit. Well, I'll just take this.
So Why would you consider playing in the USFL a punishment?
Because it is part of your punishment. It's part of your punishment for saying something about what was going on in this country. That'd be like, listen, that'd be like you buying a house, right? In a neighborhood you wanted in, and you put your money down, you earn this house, right? And then one day you make a statement, you put a sign in front of your house and say something that the people don't agree with, and they make you sell your house and then tell you, well, you can live over there, but you can't live over here. You're gonna be like, fuck that. I'm where I want to live. I'm not going to move over there. I'm staying here. So you fight for with all your power for your home that you picked out, that you bought. I don't know if that's a good metaphor, but I was trying to.
I mean, how bad do you want to live amongst people that don't want you there?
But shit, that's the question we always gotta. That's a question we always gotta ask ourselves.
How bad do you want to live amongst people that don't want you there? Why not go to a neighborhood that welcomes you?
Who said they want him in the USFL? It's the same people who control it. That's just the arm of the NFL. Who said they want him over there?
Not exactly. They have people who have ties with the NFL over there, but the
NFL runs this shit. They own the USFL. They bought them. They bought the original USFL. Ask Donald Trump. That's why they allowed it to come back. That's all on the NFL's thumb. So
I don't know. I have to do my research on that for what I understand. It's a lot of obviously it's a lot of guys with NFL ties connected to the league, and any league is ultimately going to be a feeder to the NFL because the NFL is the biggest football league on the planet. But if the USFL is welcoming of Colin Kaepernick to come and play, then why not? You're a professional football player. You're looking for a professional league to play in and get paid. Okay, the opportunity with the NFL is not there anymore. You've had legal litigation with the NFL. You just won a lawsuit from the NFL. You just got a nice big chunk of money because of the situation that you had with the NFL. I would break my ties with that, man. I'm done. I'm fine. I had my NFL career. I had a decent NFL career. I'm still young enough to play. I'm still physically fit to play. Let me go to this other professional league and play. Take your star power to the new league.
Okay.
And if you're good enough, you'll still be a star.
The USFL is owned by Fox Sports. And they help to promote the visibility of it. I know that there's some NFL ownership somewhere in there. You're right. It's the same people that own it. I mean that run football in this country.
Well, Fox Sports, that's a broadcasting channel.
Right. So Fox Sports is a conglomerate now. Yeah, they own the USFL. That's where it came from. So and they purchased most of the original names and likenesses of the teams. So that's why you see like the Generals and the Stallions, a lot of the original teams.
Right.
So they don't own it, but it's the same people connected to it. Sean Moore says the NFL, he said correct. It equals the USFL. It's like the G League of basketball. You're right. Like why I got to play minor league, right? Like so I'm saying I don't know, man.
It may be a lesser league, but it is still a professional league that has all of the main resources that the NFL has. It has the USFL. They broadcast the same way like the NFL. They broadcast two games on two different channels, Saturdays and Sundays.
Peacock.
So you have media for the league. You got plenty of good media. I think ESPN Radio.
Nobody's at the game.
Affiliated.
There's nobody at the games. There was nobody there.
Now, see, that's the issue with it. Because right now, and that's kind of by their design. The first year of the league is to be spent in one city to save costs and to try to build up interest for it. They were saying the next year the games are going to be played at the team's respective home stadiums. So just for this year, all the games are being played in Birmingham. I think that's a good idea.
You gotta save money. I just feel
Yeah.
like you can't. I just feel like you cooping for them too hard. I don't think Colin should have to bow down and take that second place shit.
I would
I feel
love to
like
see Colin play,
feel like
man.
he was done wrong, and I feel like, see, once again, it's the consolation prize mentality. Second place is the first loser, and
But,
if you gonna screw me over, then you can't talk me into going. Well, go live over there, man. Don't live when you don't want to be over here. Go over there. Oh, okay, I'll go over
but
there.
this is what I feel like. This is what I feel like. We are giving more. We're supporting the NFL more than we're supporting Colin. By telling him, hey, if you play in another league, you taking a step back. We're supporting the NFL.
No, he's stating the truth. We're being honest.
But
He
we're
knows.
also supporting
Everybody
the
knows
NFL.
that.
We're also telling him, yeah, the NFL is the bigger, better league, and you'll be tarnishing your career if you play in this league. They're both professional leagues. Yes, one is more prosperous, more known and famous than the other one. I get that. I understand. It's the NFL. You can compare the NFL to any other sport. What's bigger? Basketball ain't bigger than football. Baseball ain't bigger than football. But it's another professional football league that has all the bells and whistles. He has TV time. He has radio time. He has the media. He has everything that the NFL is offering. Maybe not as much.
He had that at Nevada in college.
Right. So, and you're still a pro athlete. You still want all that.
You know what that sounds like a pitch? That sounds like a pitch for a dude who don't make it in the NFL. Like how he convinces himself that it's still all good.
No. He made it in the NFL though. This dude made it.
That's what I'm saying. So why would you? But you asking him to have the mentality of a cat who wasn't a top tier athlete.
I'm asking him to stop fighting for inclusion in the league that does not want you. And it's clear.
Again, who says that the USFL wants him? I didn't see no offer extended. They got young blood. They got young quarterbacks. They got some young gunslingers down there. I haven't seen them make a plea to him. Colin, come on over here.
So then shouldn't that discourage Colin too?
Well, I think the whole situation should discourage him. I don't think that he can hang his hat on one. I think it's a whole fucking shitty situation. I'm just like, it's all bad. Like I say. So I feel like this. Okay, and this is just my cap on it. And then I'll allow you to just put your cap on it. My thing is, it ain't even about playing in the USFL. I think the question that needs to be asked is, why don't we have our own leagues or our own teams? Because supposedly this is a time where there's more black millionaires and billionaires than there's ever been. Right? So we got some real power players right now, right? So Magic Johnson is trying to buy the Broncos, right? So you got a bunch of black athletes, a bunch of black celebrities and black rich people who maybe they need to ante up and say, okay, either we're gonna start our own league or we're gonna buy an NFL team. Right?
Well, you know, and I guess that's the point I'm trying to make, is that why support the NFL when we can put our support into another league that gives our players and our money the respect that it deserves, you know what I'm saying, and make itself viable to compete with the NFL. Why don't we get behind another league instead of just
once again, because we don't own the USFL either, so it ain't like, it ain't sweet. I'm just saying, now look.
Right.
I seen that the report did come back on young Dwayne Haskins, and unfortunately, it's not good. That and I don't know. It depends on how much you trust the media, and I know I deal with my like, yeah, you can't believe what you read, but they said supposedly he was legally drunk and he had ketamine in his system, right? And so ketamine is some similar to anesthesia, where it kind of pushes you in a trance.
I don't know too many black guys that do ketamine.
Right. Well, how many NFL athletes do you hang out with? Like,
and not to sound, it is what it is, though. I don't know too many black guys, period, that actually do ketamine.
Well, I know. Say two things to that. Number one is it's a pain medication. So we know that cats in the NFL go to extreme methods to deal with pain. But
Okay.
also I said this a while back. Rich people got a whole different menu for their drugs than poor people do. Right. So
Yes.
you might not know some brothers who like I don't know no dudes who do ketamine either. I ain't in that tax bracket though. So I'm not, and I don't know if this dude was, I mean, obviously there were some issues. He had some issues with chemical dependency, which in itself is only criminalized and kind of looked down upon when it's a black person involved. When it's a white person, he's sick, he needs some help. But they allegedly he had gotten into it. He was with his guy. They went somewhere, they got tweaked, they had a fight, and they separated. And so this explains, I guess, how he's riding in his truck. Apparently he was drunk. I don't know if the ketamine was fresh or whatever, but they said he had a toxicology report that says they found ketamine in his system. So I don't know, but I'm just reporting it out. But I think, he had some issues.
It doesn't exactly mean that he was using it illicitly. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it could have been, a medication ingredient.
Was used for anesthesia. Unless you land on the table finna have surgery in a hospital, you typically they're not prescribing that. Like you didn't pick that up from Walgreens. Like I came to get my ketamine. Here you go.
Hey,
Maybe on the way home from work, can you grab my ketamine for me? Okay, I got you. No, it don't work like that. Like sad, man. 25 years old. Sad. Young brother. Got the world by the balls. Just having trouble, man. And so it's okay not to be okay, is what I would tell my people. And I do shows all the time in which I talk about accountability and us really just owning our shit, saying, man, we got some shit. We got some shit we need to deal with. I see the commercial all the time where the dude got the weights trapped on him in the weight room. And dude is like, you need some help? Be like, no, get away from me. Like, do you know how my family would trip on me if they seen this? And it's like, that's a perfect kind of metaphor for where we be at, man, with the weight of the world on us. And we just like, nah, I don't need no help. I don't want no help. Get away from me, So, man, sad that but now I've read a story about his parents being at odds with his wife and saying that his wife is like a violent type of female. And like they had domestic violence situations where they said one time at some award show or something, she like knocked his teeth out.
Whoa.
Yeah. So,
Whoa.
Yeah, man.
That's it right there. That's a deal breaker.
Yeah, well, they said that, so I guess it didn't come to his
out.
Ace Bully said they always going to excuse the white guy. Look at the white guy that didn't get indicted with Young Thug and his crew. They basically gave him a pass. I'm not up on my Young Thug shit. I don't know.
Right.
I ain't up on it. That's Young Thug has always been a little bit over my head as a hip hop fan. I never understood it. I was always like, what the fuck?
Man, they hit him with the Rico, didn't they?
Yeah, him and his allegedly his gang in Atlanta or whatever. I don't know. They said James Harden might, because James Harden is they partners. So I don't know. Ace is a white dude involved. I don't know. I have no kind of. I tried to watch some shit last night about it, but I'm so old. When they got to naming it off, I just kind of dismissed it and just went to some other shit. Like I'd rather see this interview with Big Mike to compare it to the one we did on Outlaw Radio. So yeah, I watch like stuff on YouTube with like the old school classic rappers and whatnot. Some stuff, but like I said, the popularity of Young Thug for me was just like, what the fuck is this about? Like I didn't get it, so I knew you too old now. This shit ain't for you no more, right? It's for these youngsters. But yeah, man. Now I wanted to. Okay, so another controversy that we seen, LeBron James' son. What is his name? I see people call him Bronny. I don't know. What is his name? I don't know.
Bronny.
Bronny. So he went to school, he went to a dance or an event with a white girl. And people was pissed. Like, that's out of order. And I'm like, well, y'all pissed because he went to a dance with an actual girl, but y'all didn't have no problem with Dwayne Wade's son kissing a girl who identifies as a boy, and he's a boy who identifies as a girl. I hear all the because I'm one of those people who feel like, the black man and the black woman need to be together. I feel like we need to strengthen our legacies and strengthen up our gene pools, solidify our gene pools. I believe in that. People say, God damn, that sounds like Hitler and them. No, I believe we need to tighten the wagon, circle the wagons. But do go with who you want. Be with who you want to be with. Like, especially if you're a young man, you say, Dad, I'm cool with this girl. Of course, I'm gonna tell you, well, little dog, you should look at some black women, because you look at your mama, man, look at your grandmama. I'm this what we want pride in our people. But if you say no, pops, man, no, Jenny is cool, I'd be like, hey, fuck it then. Go. I'm just glad you didn't bring Jimmy. I'm glad you with Jenny
Right.
instead of Jimmy. Talking about dad, I'm non-binary.
You know, you right.
Disney.
He's young, man. He's young. And I see nothing wrong with that. But one thing that I will speak on, talking to a lot of these younger black guys, younger black men, younger black teenage boys. Some of them, when they go to schools that are predominantly white, they tend to, kind of put their sisters on the back burner. You know what I'm saying? That I've noticed. They tend to put the sisters on the back burner, and they have their so-called reasons why they don't like to talk to black girls anymore. And it's sad, man. And as black men, we need to reinforce in our boys how important our black women are.
No doubt. You can't say that enough times. Ace Cooley, you're right. He said we backwards as hell as a people. But I want to touch on what you said, because once again, the historically white colleges and universities, and I don't know about high school, but I went to white schools. It was no preference that, I don't like black women, I like white women. And as a matter of fact, as soon as I went to a school where I seen a black woman that I wanted to get with, I got with her. She upstairs right now. We've been married 21 years. So it wasn't about a preference. But when I didn't have a girlfriend and I was at a white school, you in Rome, you do what the Romans do. And you have a good time. That's all I'm gonna say. You young, go. Like my father told me, man. I remember I came home my freshman year. My mother was on my back, like, Kevin, I called your room at 2:00 in the morning. You ain't there, and you better get your ass. And my father kind of pulled me to the side and said, "Boy, you better have a good time. You better be up there party. Get long as you do your work, man, and do what you do on that football field. Have a good time and enjoy yourself." I said, "Oh, okay, pops, that's what's up." So yeah, is it a big deal because LeBron James? No, y'all ain't say nothing about Michelle and Barack's daughters, who I think now one of them dates a black dude, but for forever, I don't even think they stood next to a black dude in line at school. I don't, it's like you selective, you pick and choose. Like, it's like, black people, you say, hey, you know who to fuck with. So, I didn't think it was the end of the world. Because his mom, LeBron, is married to a black woman. So if
Right.
LeBron says, son, I get what you're saying, but look at our family. Like, this means something. It means something that your mama is a black woman and that I'm a black man, and that the way I do things, all of the stuff I've done in the community, it means something. So, but at the same time, if you love who you love somebody. Figure out how to, maybe that's the one thing, that's the problem. We ain't got enough damn love in the
Right.
world. Somebody, I ain't gonna be with you because you white, even though I really want to. Now you just over here beating up on a black girl for no reason. Don't nobody need your goddamn residual issues leaking.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine, man. He'll be fine.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think he'd be okay too. Not okay. So we gotta talk about this because this we was off. We were off. We didn't get to do the show. The Bucks got their ass whooped. Now this was preceded by some crazy shit at the Fiserv, in which was 17 people got shot or whatnot.
Right.
So I want to go all the way back there because I didn't get a chance to chop this up with you, and people say that's old news, and I want to do it because we had made some predictions prior to I think it was game 6, right?
Yeah.
In which they won a game, and then I said, well, no, they're not gonna win, and you said you felt like they would. But then they
I
lost.
thought they were winning 7. I said they were taking it 7.
So is the issue? Let's talk Bucks then. So is the issue here that Middleton was hurt,
Yep.
or okay? Is that the issue?
Obviously, that was the biggest issue for us.
Okay. I wasn't pleased with the rotation. I thought that Javon Carter should have gotten some time.
Yes.
Somebody tell me where the hell Serge Ibaka is. Was he working at Walmart? Like, I don't. And Grayson Allen and Connaughton was just stunk up the joint, and just it was like, what's going on?
We talked about this. We talked about how they didn't do enough in free agency. They just didn't do enough. They didn't go after the right players. They didn't go after explosive younger players.
Right.
And they traded for Ibaka. Why would you trade for somebody and not play them in the playoffs? I don't understand that.
Okay.
And then you might as well have re-signed Boogie and kept Boogie on.
Right.
If you're gonna let Boogie go and then bring on Ibaka and you don't even play him, come on, man. Somebody's fucking up.
I thought Javon Carter was shooting very well and he was playing defense. And I get it because I've spoken with people. Sean Moore said Bud is the issue. I've heard so many people say this, and I'm more of a football guy than a basketball guy. Obviously, if you watch the show, you can tell that. But I do watch a lot of basketball, and so my son plays, so I had to get an understanding of it because he plays. But I felt like you made a mistake with PJ Tucker. I felt but I felt like too. So let's get back to that because I felt like PJ was being hella petty when he says, "Well, they told me go look for a deal, and whatever somebody offered me, they'll pay me," and that offended me because I felt disrespected. I'm like, "Well, they just said they'd pay you whatever you were offered." I think he's saying that instead of saying, "I had the choice of living in Milwaukee or Miami, and I chose Miami." Just say that.
Right. Tell the truth.
Right. Come on, man.
Tell the truth, man.
Man,
tell the truth.
All that old bullshit, man.
These nuts.
Man.
Is he single?
I don't know. I don't know.
Shit,
I don't know if it matters in terms of just the weather. Like it's just like,
man,
but so and he probably felt like, well, that's a championship ready team too. So I'm not really losing much in terms of my ability to get another ring. But just say that now. But also I feel like when they signed DeMarcus Cousins, I feel like this could be something that could be, and it was looking good because he was actually playing very well here.
Yes.
What we don't know is
that was stupid, man.
Was there some sort of disagreement behind the scenes? Did DeMarcus say some shit? Did he do what? I don't know. We don't know what happened. I know that they gave a reasoning that didn't make sense. Like, well, we want to keep a roster spot open. And I guess that trade, they were anticipating something coming free, something breaking loose via free agency that they could bring in, and it don't look like it ever really happened. Okay, so you lose in that regard. So I feel like now you got Grayson Allen and you have Pat Connaughton, and you let DiVincenzo go.
Right.
Who had prior to that had been really good for you before he got hurt. He was taking some time to get his shit back, but
more of a scorer than Grayson Allen.
Yeah.
More of a scorer. More of a scorer.
Sean says when he won Coach of the Year, what happened the next year? Not a lot. He excels off of others' decisions and moves. PJ helped him. He has a family. He said he has a family, by the way. PJ has a family.
Okay.
Helped him win, and you don't offer him a contract. It was disrespectful. But they said they would match whatever he was offered. And he admitted that. He said that they told him, no, whatever somebody offer you, he wanted them to just make a mega offer off top. When I think it was smart to play it the way they did, like, well, we don't want to jump up and get this dude, goddamn, because you got to pay a luxury tax. You're already spending your bank account is already heavy. Between your big three, you paying a king's ransom, right? And it's not about, well, black men deserve money. It's about, in this game, there's a salary cap. You got to live by the salary cap. So I felt like they did it right. Like, okay, did he offer you what? Oh, shit, yeah, we'll match that. And he's like, no, y'all disrespected me. Like, it was like, nah, man, come on, man. I said I didn't think it was disrespectful. That don't mean it wasn't. You think it was disrespectful of them?
I don't think it was.
Okay.
I don't think it was disrespectful at all. They tell players that all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Teams tell players that all the time. Go out, get an offer, and we'll match it. They do that all the time.
Right. Well, that's the nature of the beast, right? Like it's about the money when it comes to the money. And so Serge Ibaka didn't really provide because did he even play? Like I don't even remember. I'm like, where's he at? So and I don't know if he couldn't pick up on the system or what was going on, but because he played a little bit at first and then he was just kind of like out of the rotation.
Right.
And I know that Bud has a relationship with George Hill. But I mean, come on, it's in the rear view for George, man. Like
right.
In the rear view for him, man. Like probably a good dude. He seemed like a pretty affable brother, but I mean, come on, man. This game done passed you by, man. Boston was loaded. They had too much firepower. And then you take Middleton away, and it just changes everything. Now, Giannis, what do you have? 200 points and 100 rebounds. Like, he was the first in the history of the NBA to do this in a long time. You got all you could get out of Giannis, man. But it just wasn't. You didn't have enough guns. So moving forward, now the talk is, which I don't believe this will happen. Everybody's talking about Damian Lillard. Like, we want to bring Lillard in, and they talking about the proposed trade says they want to trade Drew Holiday. I think you'd be an idiot to trade Drew Holiday right now. That's your real only defensive kind of killer. Again, offensively he ain't as fluid as Damon, and Damon's a little bit younger. But come on, man. I would say get rid of package up Connaughton and DiVincenzo and a draft pick and offer that to Portland for Damon.
Portland will laugh at that shit. They'll laugh at that offer, man. You two role players for Dame.
Well, and a first round draft pick though. That first round draft pick is the killer dilla. I don't know when they have another one, but
but like what area of the draft though? How is it a high draft pick? Is it a low? Is it a
well? It ain't gonna be lottery. It would be first round. At least give them two draft picks.
I make that pick. I make that trade. I would see you later, Drew. Thanks for the service. I would make that trade.
Ace Cooley said we don't need another point guard. So that's what we want to talk about, what we need. He said we don't need another point guard. We need a consistent shooter. Okay. I say, okay, you say consistent shooter. If you go back and listen to the Big Black Sports Show, which this is the Big Black Sports Show, y'all. You just tuning in. Like, why Kev on Facebook now? God damn. Well, it's the Big Black Sports Show. Tomorrow we'll do Outlaw Radio again. But I was saying you needed another scorer. You needed one more gun. When Giannis is off and Middleton is streaky. So you do need another 25 point, 20 point a game score.
See, with our team, you're right. We don't need another point guard when you think about it, because Giannis loves to run the point.
But they shouldn't be though.
Giannis will command the ball from the point guard and bring the ball down himself.
Well, wait a minute. You get rid of George. George Hill is the backup point guard. Get rid of his old ass. We do need another point guard. What do you mean? You need a backup point guard.
But the way this team is ran, everything is ran through Giannis. Giannis plays point. Giannis brings the ball down and sets the offense up himself.
Damn. Sean Moore said Bud is too passive. He said too passive to coach a boogie. Said Bud came in off kid. They should have. He's a consistent defensive stopper and buckets in the corner. Some teams honor their word, and those that let them players go regret it. Why play Grayson or Hill? They're defensive liabilities. Dame wants to play with Giannis. I'll give up Drew for Dame. You talking about 25 a night? Let me see. I think I might know who this is. You live on Outlaw Radio. Hold on. Let me get my devices straight. You live on Outlaw Radio. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Brother Ram calling from the north side, down the street.
Brother Ram, what's good with it?
Hey, man, I'm listening live to the show, man. Talking that good talk I like to hear.
All right, bro.
I appreciate it.
We talk about them Bucks, even though I'm not a loyal Bucks fan, but I was telling people they were going to go down in the second round. Okay. People wouldn't believe in me.
Okay. So they said the talk is they don't need another point guard. What do they need?
Well, they got a couple things going on that need to be addressed. First, you got to have a GM that got some game that can pull somebody here.
Okay.
See, until they get a NBA all NBA player that people like, Drew is kind of like that, but they need one of that. And then you can draw somebody. That's number one. I think Middleton makes too much money, and his production not equal to money when you compare him to other shooting forwards and guards like that. And if you get Dame, and you got Drew, I don't know if that's going to solve your problem, because Dame he's ball dominant too. The both
right.
stand around too much on offense. That's the one thing I see. They stand around too much, and then it's all off of Giannis. And the defense got kind of exposed because they can't defend man to man. Like they can't play man to man a certain period of the game. And Boston, I think, took advantage of that in those matchups. They got overpowered in the Boston matchup. So we gotta get some hoopers up in here, Kevin, and other brothers on the show. We gotta get some ballers up in here. You know,
you're right. We gotta get some athletes.
Yeah, they don't have no athletes, man. Okay, look at it like this. Boston's top 8 guys are first-round picks above number 15. Think about that. If you're a first-round pick above 15, you can go.
Right.
Then when you look at us, we only have 2 people on the team that was on the team that are Bucks draft picks other than Giannis, and that's Nora, and he don't even play. Everybody else is free agents. So where's the chemistry at?
You're right.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And you look at the players that they let go, they should have kept. That's my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, because we didn't get nothing from Portis.
Well, we got Drew.
We didn't get
I think Portis was serviceable. I think Portis gave us a lot this year.
At home, not on the road.
Are we
just prepared for Portis?
Let me ask everybody who's listening because okay, so let me Ram. I'm glad you called. Sean Moore said Dame is a scorer and he puts pressure on the defense. With Dame, Giannis can control the paint, give Dame the ball, and let him be the general. He also agreed with you that Middleton was getting paid too much. Ace Cooley said we lost the defense with the loss of Tucker, and he said Dame plays defense, and people will take pay cuts to play with Dame. So I said this. I feel like we need a dominant big man because I felt like all the teams really who kicked our ass down low, like in the paint. Like dudes just coming down the middle of the floor, just yamming. Of course, the Celtics shot the lights out and shot 1 million 3-pointers, but I feel like we need a dominant big man.
The new NBA is small ball with rim protectors. The day of the big man is dead. That's gone. That's 80s, 90s. That's dead.
Tell that to Joel Embiid though. Joel Embiid is a big. Well, I mean, like you got.
Yeah, but look what happened to him.
Look at Aiden. Look at. I'm bringing
look
up
at all the players that like Jokic. All them. Where are they at? Jokic don't play no D. Embiid don't play no D.
Okay.
Luka don't play no D. Harden don't play no D. And Kevin Durant don't play no D. So you got to get players around them that could play some. Like you look at the Warriors in Miami, the prototype teams of the future in NBA basketball. I would probably even say college too. Your wings got to be. You got to have 4 guys that can handle the ball and put pressure and play 5 out or play 4 out, 1 in. But that 1 in guy, he can't roll. But you got to have shooters around. And I thought the Bucks had shooters that were, like you said, I heard you say streak. They are. They look good in the first half, but in that clutch moment, who's that guy that can create their own offense and get a bucket other than Giannis? And then Giannis is a horrible free throw shooter.
Well, it was Chris Middleton. It was Chris until he got hurt.
Middleton don't go to the rack though. He's soft.
Middleton.
He said he's soft.
He is soft. Fact. He shoots. Jordan Poole goes to the rack more than Middleton do.
Okay.
Right.
Does not like contact. You watch him play, he does not like contact.
But Middleton has always been that.
Go ahead.
Middleton has always had that 10 to 12 foot game. You know what I'm saying? He never was a dominant player that attacked the rim a lot, but he was a nice shooter. He has a nice perimeter game. You know. But I understand what you're saying.
Sean Moore said chemistry. Dame controls the floor. He said, and he wants to play with Giannis. And I agree with this. He said they make Lopez play his fucking position. We go much further. They don't want to play big. Make them bastards play their positions. Fuck analytics. Give me a DeMar DeRozan and a midi. You know what? I agree.
Right.
I felt like I used to get mad at the Bucks too when I would see everybody standing on the damn perimeter, and you got Giannis and Lopez. You got 7-footers, and I'm like, dude, if you miss that 3, the other team, they got their whole team down there to get the rebound. So when that's not falling, you start losing. You get behind by 10, 20, 15.
Dude, that's Giannis calling all those damn ISOs.
Right. The
That's Giannis calling all those damn ISOs.
50% in percentage of 3 points made per game as a team. It looked good when they in transition, but the problem with the Bucks is they struggle and score in half. Like in playoff basketball, it's slow down in half court. They don't have a guy that can create their shot like the Tatum and the Browns and the Klay Thompsons and people like that. They got to get, and Dame could do that. Like they don't have nobody who can take somebody off the dribble in the half court and pull up.
Tatum was eating Connaughton's ass alive.
Yeah, but Tatum been like that since high school.
Yikes.
Brown, this guy been like, I've seen Brown in high school play AAU. They've been like that. They just got better. Tatum played like Kobe. That was his mentor. He played like Kobe.
You can't deny that he might be next up, man. He looked like 46, 42, 40. Like I'm like, but the Bucks, y'all need to be what the movie would say? Did you at least pinch the bitch? Like, man.
Okay, hey, what's the other brother name on the show with you?
My brother Tank.
I'm Coach Tank, bro.
Hey, brother Tay. Brother Rick. I say this. The other problem I see right now is who are the Bucks building around with their youth?
Right.
They don't have no youth they building around with. They okay, so if you're gonna have to make a move to try to get a top 15 pick or something close, or get one of these top college players to try to build around, and maybe you got to fall back and say, well, we're gonna see if we can be a contender, but they got to get a core of younger players. Because when you look what the Warriors is doing, they core young. They look good for the next 10 years.
Right.
I'm talking. They look good for the next 2 years when Curry, Clay, and Dre is not even hooping, and Jordan Poole is from here, and he's from your high school.
Oh yeah, you know the general. You know how we do it.
I'm just saying.
Well, one thing I'm
Listen.
interested in the latest rumor, and the latest rumor has Johnny Davis going to the Bucks. If we was to get that kid, I think he has potential.
Jeremy Davis? Wait.
Johnny Davis from Wisconsin. The kid from Wisconsin.
Johnny Davis?
Yeah, from Wisconsin.
Oh, matter of fact, if you want to see some highlights of Johnny Davis, the year that Washington lost to Kiwanis, they beat lacrosse. Johnny Davis was the one that put something like 36, 18, and 7 on Washington.
Whoa.
And then he ended up going to, if you watch that semifinal game, he was putting it on Mike Foster and Tate. He was putting it on him. That's the same kid. And his brother's on the team. Johnny's
a scorer. Yeah, he's a scorer, man.
I see somebody like that in the backcourt with Drew.
Shout to Sean Moore. He said Mitty can go. He's talking about Middleton. He said Mitty's ass can go. A Dame with somebody like DeMar, that's the fucking problem. Damn coach letting players call plays. He called Bud. He said, "Pussy ass coach, what you getting? Do what you getting paid to do. Either coach or bring in a coach that manages as well as coaches. If they bring in Dame, they could draw more talent. Okay, so listen. First of all, let me ask y'all this. Is this overreaction because we just won a world title? Like, are we just overreacting, or do we not want to slide back into where we was with this content?
We could have repeated. We could have repeated if they would have made the right choice.
I don't think the cards was ever in play for us to repeat. I think we hit a streak of luck and blessings last year that's unprecedented. When you talk about damn near all of the top players in the league who played against us got hurt. I said Giannis should have been the defensive player of the year last year.
Giannis got hurt too.
Getting hurt. No, I'm saying Trae Young stepped on his ankle and got hurt. Kyrie got hurt. Harden
by Giannis.
Right.
Giannis took out Kyrie. Let's call it what it is.
Right. So
Giannis got hurt too. Giannis got hurt too during the championship series.
Missed one game.
But he came back to play though.
Missed one game and came back off them drugs.
Missed one game.
I'm joking. I don't know that he was on the drugs. Yeah, black people.
Well, he missed one game, but Trae Young wasn't the same after on his ankle.
Right. He sure wasn't. He wasn't.
And Kyrie didn't come back.
Right.
And the Bucks. Like I said, they said 2020 was the Mickey Mouse Championship. 2021 is the wheelchair championship. That's what's out there That's what's out there in social media land and sports world. Because they only played 72 games, and then Brian and them got one with 50. Matter of fact, Brian advocated that everybody should play, which they probably shouldn't have played because those guys were chilling for those 4 months. And that's why you see all these injuries.
Yeah, they can call it that, though, but they hate, man. They earned it. I mean, because sports is a war of attrition in the first place. Injuries happen. I said that, but injuries happen.
But injuries not like what we've been seeing. No, it wasn't.
Well, no, I disagree. I think I've seen after Odell Beckham got hurt in the Super Bowl. Like once again, I think sports people get hurt.
But basketball's a little different though.
Well, look,
because
the Phoenix
play defense
Suns
and the defense play offense.
The Phoenix
and you're covering 33 feet in basketball. So I think the type of injury you get in basketball that
I know they're different. I know that they're different. What I'm saying is injuries happen. You're talking about human bodies. So I don't think they should put an asterisk on there and call it you said they call it the wheelchair. That's some shit on like
wheelchair. I put an asterisk on that one.
Right. Like Hooper's got a whole different kind of like basketball dudes got. See, Tank and I are both football guys. Muhammad is a basketball guy. Muhammad is a basketball guy.
But a lot of my partners are basketball truth. That's what we say. We say, yeah, the Bucks got one. The question was, can they repeat?
No, I didn't think they could.
I said the Bucks go down and like I heard Tage made a comment about keeping Tucker. And that's just some BS that they talking about this luxury tax. I say run it back and keep Tucker. I say keep Tucker. Don't bring Grayson Allen here. Connaughton, let him work on the option, but they really didn't make no additions to the team to make it better.
They didn't. And
but everybody else got better.
I feel like Tucker kind of I think he kind of simped out because once again, if they tell you we'll match the money, it means we'll match the money, man. Like, okay, so let me catch y'all.
He didn't step out. He went and found a deal, and the Bucks said we're not matching it.
No, they said we will match it. They said we will match it.
Out on that.
He said he told that story and said they said whatever you find we'll match it, but I felt disrespected by that. Ace Cooley said,
well, I mean they really didn't want him.
I think he just wanted to live in Miami over Milwaukee.
Right.
Ain't wrong.
No, he wanted to stay. I think he wanted to stay.
I don't think so.
I mean, he just won. Why would you leave? He wants to stay.
Because he's finna win another one with Miami. No,
they about to lose. Oh, they about to get tagged.
Ace Cooley said he said I think it's overreacting to say we aren't athletic. We have some bigs that can run with most teams smalls. We have to do more than have Giannis go downhill and dunk the ball. Sean Moore said no. Bud got lucky. He would have been fired if they would have lost. Bud sits his punk ass over there like a scared witness waiting to whisper as the police walk past.
Talk that stuff, man.
He's the only coach that thinks he can roll over challenges to the next game. This bastard don't even challenge calls. Fake ass Popovich.
Man. Hey, they said he was on that staff, but they don't remember him doing nothing.
Sean Moore snapping in the chat room. He said, Ace Cooley said the Bucks defense was top 5 this year. Sean Moore said the defense was 5th because of injuries and inconsistent refereeing. Okay, so then that's the kind of
they defense was, if you want to say protecting the rim, yeah, because Bud believed packing the paint, but they was dead last when it come perimeter defense and stopping the 3. Every team knew that.
Right.
And the corner 3 on the basketball court is the shortest 3. It's the court, and they couldn't even get out there to get that. My problem with the Bucks is no period of the game, especially when they lost Tucker, that they can play man to man with nobody. You could blow by them.
Yeah.
You could blow by them. And Lopez and even with Giannis, they horrible in drop coverage because team was begging them to double somebody. They was begging the Bucks to double somebody. And I went to the game when they played Denver here. Man, Jokic, they busted them by 36, man.
Yeah, they whooped the Bucks' ass. They stomped them out.
Yeah, so teams that got 3-point shooters and they can get to the rim, put the ball on the floor, the Bucks will always have problems with them.
Okay, so now, once again, here we go. I'm glad everybody's here for this conversation because I asked this question. I was talking to my boy, Big Mike G, and we were talking about the Bucks. And I feel like Giannis still has at least 3-4 years where he could really be a dominant player, but I think you got to start reducing his role, like meaning he can't be the only thing we have. This is not, and even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I was going to reference him, but even he kind of wore down and was grateful to have a Magic and a Cooper and a Green and a Worthy come in. So the Bucks, if they want to get back in there and get another ring, because it will be very Aaron Rodgers-ish if he only had one ring, because he's too great of a player. Immediately, what do we need to do to get another ring? Sean Moore said we got to get Dame.
Okay, I agree. But whenever you want something, you got to give up something.
Right.
You got to give the other team what they want.
Okay.
So Chris is out of here.
Okay.
We definitely need a shooting guard.
The other team, right. Tay, I would say I love your two guard. Like I would say we need make a trade where we get a top 10 player and a free agent.
Yes, I agree.
Whether it's a wing or a power forward, because you really need a big three.
Yeah, in today's NBA,
we don't have a big three. And then you say work on our bench. So what the bench look like? How many points can we get off the bench? When you talk about making a run to being regular contenders, like when you look at Boston, they bench can score, but they really good on defense. Even though they play a lot of ISO, but they really good on defense.
They are.
Miami is very good on defense. They move the ball, but they struggle with scoring sometimes. But they score a lot of points off their defense.
Our bench needs young blood.
Yeah. But then, hey, Kevin and Tay, I say this: the three teams who I like with player development is the Spurs, the Warriors, and Miami. But when you look at those three, you look at Pat Riley, you look at Steve Kerr, and you look at Popovich, that's almost like 20-something championship rings.
It's a lot.
So when you got championship rings, you don't have champion players, and you don't seen a lot of talent come and go. And that's what's missing with the Bucks. Like, who is in their talent department?
Right.
Because they done made some busts, man.
I'll take Dame over Middleton. I just think you need to keep Drew Holiday.
But then you got a small backcourt.
That's true. That's why I said we need a dominant big man too. So yeah, that's true too.
What about Donovan Mitchell?
He's unhappy, right? He's unhappy in Utah, right? Okay.
Yep. Zach LaVine. I don't know if they're gonna be able to sign him.
I like Mitchell more than LaVine.
Well, they better do something. Sean Moore says Dame prolongs his career, Giannis, and keeps them in contention. Sean Moore said goodbye to Mitty or Drew, or package them and get a first round top 5 pick. Drew Grayson, throw him in for some towels. Middleton for Dame and a pick.
There you go.
He said not Donovan, he's undersized. Sean Moore said package up everybody and ship their ass out for Lillard, right? Ace Cooley.
But I would say this: if you bring Lillard here, this is my opinion. Okay, this is the problem. I don't have a problem with Giannis, but one of the reasons Giannis not respected because he's not American, he don't come from here. That's that. And then he made some statements that he probably should have never said about this whole thing about working out with other players. And the unspoken, they gonna let Giannis remember that. Some stuff you just shouldn't say out in the open. But when you get a star players talk to each other all the time.
Right. They partners.
They do. There's nothing you can do to stop that. So having one on your team, which I think Jabari Parker could have been that here, because he's very, very, very well respected.
Yeah, it's too
and the
sad.
Bucks just kind of gave up on him. But we don't have one now.
Well, Ace Cooley's calling you. He's calling you out, Rick. He said don't put Steve Kerr in that conversation because Mark Jackson built that team.
No. Steve Kerr has 8 title rings. He has got 5 as a player, and he played with Coach Jackson, and he played for Pop. So he's been around talent. He been in the gym with practice. He got busted in the face by Michael Jordan. So what I'm saying is, it's just certain things that you know when you coach, and you know what type of players you want.
Right.
But he's a shooter. Look at the type of players he got on his team. If you under 6'10", you can't make a free throw and a three or mid range, I don't think Golden State even look at you.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, I was
like if
watching.
you can't hit an open shot, they looking at you like, okay, you shot 3 open shots, you missed all 3. Send them to Santa Cruz, send them to G League.
It's
not
watching.
working out, Steve.
I was watching Iman Shumpert on Vlad TV, and he was saying he hated the Warriors because they changed basketball. And he said, because most teams, he said, I come from the old school where I ain't never even thought about shooting threes. I want to go to the post and yam it on you to show my dominance. He said, normally we want to come out and establish ourselves down low right quick, and we'll warm up and we'll hit those mid-ranges, we'll hit those layups, and then we'll step back and shoot threes. He said, no, Golden State come out the locker room shooting threes from the start, like, and they go in. He's like, so he's like,
right.
what am I supposed to do? So I agree. Golden State, yeah, game changer. Talent-wise, Mark Jackson may have assembled some of the talent, but I think Kerr is right. By now, you got to say Kerr has done something right just because of his, And listen, so I want to get everybody's pick for the finals because I had picked Phoenix and we got our ass twerked. So right now I gotta go with Boston. I think Boston will be the NBA champions this year. So we'll start with Brother Tank. Tank, who you think gonna be the champions?
Yeah, I'm going for Golden State.
Okay.
I think Golden
Who
State.
you with, Graham?
Man, I see Golden State back to back.
Back to back. Sean Moore, Ace Cooley. Ace Cooley said he got Golden State. Sean Moore, let's see what Sean said. He said Giannis said a lot of shit. He said he ain't American and don't respect America. Jackson didn't build Golden State. They drafted these players and Mark couldn't get that up out of them. He said, I felt the same kind of way about Kerr initially, but he knows how to step back but also when to step in. All right. Sean, you saying the Golden State is going, he said back-to-back for Golden State, right? Yep, he said Golden State back-to-back. Yep. So
yeah,
that's what's up.
Back-to-back.
That's what
I think when you look at, hey, Kevin and Sean, when you look at, just look, Clay hadn't played in 2 years, right? But remember, Clay got hurt in the finals. And when he went down, he had 25, 7, and 8. And he was in the hall, he was in the tunnel walking with his dad, who's an NBA champion. And he said, son, can you go? He said, no. He said, shut it down. He went out in the finals.
Right.
And what's his name when he won by 4 points? And Curry had 46 in game 5.
Yeah, I remember.
So
watching.
Their blueprint for winning is there. And if I was Minnesota, I see they fired their GM and got a new GM now. They got swindled. Minnesota got swindled almost the same way Danny Ainge did to the Nets. Because what happened was they had a deal with Minnesota when they took D'Angelo Russell that if Minnesota made the playoffs, the Warriors would get their second and 7th pick. So the Warriors were already looking at Kuminga and Moody. They had them on radar when Curry was hurt. And when you look at, they only had one losing season since 2014. They only had one losing season. And they almost made the play-in if LeBron hit that one shot. And a lot of people thought Curry should have got MVP last year, which I think he should. I mean, I didn't pick them. I didn't even pick them. I picked them being under 500 last year. And look what they was able to do with. Matter of fact, I don't think it's hardly nobody on that team other than the core. All the players they got now is all new.
Yeah, and Sean Moore said James Wiseman's coming back next year, and he said they'll be able to go 9-10 deep next year. So, Ram, we got to get you on, man. People don't know Ram was initially supposed to be one of our co-hosts, but he's a basketball dude.
Kevin showed me a lot of love. He showed me a lot of love, Tay. And the only reason I wasn't able to do it because I was assistant coach at Bayview for the JV, the varsity, and freshman, and it just wasn't. Well, mostly, NPS, you play games on Tuesday night.
Right.
Home on the road. And that, so I wouldn't even try to even look at that part, because we at home and on the road. So, but now, it's back open up and, whatever Kevin can fit me in, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, we're going to get you on. We're going to put it in the books. We're going to get you on and let you come on here because it's a lot. The finals is going on. So, this is This is your time. This your sport. Like if this was Super Bowl season, I'd be like, be quiet, Ram. You don't know what you're talking about. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But we're gonna get you on, man.
Well, I'll be listening to football. I listen to people like you guys because I learn a lot from listening. People that don't put the reps in. I gotta sit up and listen to them. Even though sometimes I listen to Leroy Butler, Gary Ellison on the other talk shows, but they do have a lot of valuable stuff that they do say. Stuff that be happening in practice and stuff like that. So, I respect that.
Sean Moore said, Sean Moore said, me and Dude can boost your show, bro. He knows ball. He agreed with me. So Ace Cooley said, I think Mark Jackson should go to the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, man, we gotta do it. It's like I said, it's NBA finals time. So we're gonna really give them the attention they deserve. I just had to get the Bucks out the way because I'm a hometown dude. I'm a native North Sidian, so I'm always riding for the home team.
Man, I didn't like the idea that the Bucks got bought by these owners. I don't like them. I think they're gonna sell the team. I think once they make a certain amount of money, I think they're gonna sell the team.
I like these owners. I think they made more moves, but I'm gonna be honest with you, Ram. At this point, like it is what it is, right? Like it's just big money problems. Like, so, I don't know if what their intent is to do, but I know that because I could look at the young rich white boy who bought the Brewers, and he's giving them, the Brewers in first place right now. So they may leave him here because I think they've got the keys to the city and that they've been given the go ahead to build up around there. So they can make money off of what they build around that stadium in addition to the stadium and its players. And so that's a whole other conversation, Rick, that we got to go into and talk about. That's why I know I got to get you on the show.
But I'm going to say, Tay, when our Negro politicians, common council, can never give them a pass, and they got $205 million free tax money. And we don't have one black business in the district. Not one.
Yeah.
Not one. Maybe. And people are talking about, well, Valerie Daniels, she's an owner. No, she's a minority
owner. Yeah.
Like, just keep that, because, people want to play the black woman thing up. But what I'm saying is, and then when you also look, they hardly have no black executives. None.
Right.
I think once you get past Darvin Ham and Ben Baker, and Charles Lee, he just came on last year. That's it.
Right. And Darvin Ham is being named as a finalist for the Lakers job.
He ain't gonna get the Lakers.
I hope he don't take that job.
He ain't gonna get the Lakers.
He's ready to be ahead somewhere though.
Maybe so. We hope so.
That's a mess over at the Lakers. That's another whole different show.
Yeah, we're going to get you on, man. We're going to get you on because that's why we do the Big Black Sports Show, because we connected to what's relevant in our community and we approach sports from a black perspective. The people say, why you do a sports show? Well, if we can watch ESPN and appreciate a bunch of white dudes talking about black athletes, we damn sure should be able to appreciate a bunch of brothers talking about black athletes, right?
Right.
So,
and white
ones. Right, hey. Exactly. We go hard on them.
Yeah.
What was you going to say,
Straight
Tank?
up. Full court press, Tank.
Hey, definitely. But before we go, I just wanted to mention a couple of things. One, I briefly wanted to talk about Floyd Mayweather. He just had an exhibition fight in Dubai, and he just beat up his personal punching bag, Darren Moore, exhibition fight. And I guess what I'm trying to figure out, man, is he making a mockery out of boxing?
I don't think because he made $20 million again. I think he's Floyd Mayweather. I don't think boxing is making a mockery out of itself, actually, because boxing they refuse to put together cards that are relevant, and they fight too infrequently. So boxing is a shadow of his former self. I'm not mad at Floyd Mayweather for doing what he did, but I think, and I also believe Floyd should be very careful. He should fight somebody who is his personal punching bag if he can make a couple $1 million for it, because he damn sure don't need to get in here with one of these young guns and get his fucking brains beat out. So,
hey, see, that's my point. Is he still good enough?
No, he's 50,000 years old. No.
Hey, Foreman came back. How old was Foreman when he came back and won the championship?
Younger than Floyd is now, and we talking about.
Are we sure?
Yeah, Foreman wasn't. Yeah, Floyd
Foreman
is
was
in
in
his
his
50s. Floyd is 50 years old easily because he's older than me.
Ford is 45. Ford is 45, and I think Foreman came back at 50.
Right. Oh, okay.
Heavyweight.
He's not Foreman though. I don't. He's a little guy. I just think it's different. I don't. And plus, I think you're looking at Foreman. Foreman is the exception to the rule, not the norm. Right? Like so, because a lot of boxers try to come back. Bernard Hopkins tried to come back, got his ass knocked out the ring. We don't even want to talk about Mike Tyson's last fight.
That's true.
Right? So a lot of the great ones want to come back. I'm gonna do it again. Look at Larry. Look at what Mike Tyson done to Larry Holmes. Like, I mean, so old boxers, yeah, because they so good with their hands, they're better than the average dude. But when you get back in the game, you talking about the young stunners. So nah, I don't. I think Floyd, should tie a bow on it. Like, if you can make, once again, if he can make $20 million by going to Dubai and doing this, why not do it? It's an exhibition. But I don't take him seriously. Now, if he said I'm fighting Bud Crawford in Vegas in August, I'd be like, oh shit, Floyd, you might not want to do that, right? Or Errol
I would
Spence.
think that the problem I have with boxing now is that the white boy has tried to switch to UFC, MMA to counter boxing because they couldn't hang.
Right.
So the marketing piece of boxing, like they need to get some boxers like Sugar Ray Leonard, some of these older guys, and try to form some type of federation to bring it back where they can have Saturday night fights. And I think there's a market and it's a platform for it. But like Kevin just said, the way they're doing it right now, and even I agree with Tay, it's like they kind of prostitute the sport because for me, after Tyson went to prison, I started watching boxing. I don't know.
The best boxers aren't fighting each other.
I'm just being honest. And I like boxing. I mean, I don't know none of these guys.
And see, that's the problem because the best boxers are not fighting each other. That's one of the biggest problems with boxing right now. The best guys are just not facing each other, and the guys who are undefeated are trying to hang on to their
we just had Bud just defended his title against a pretty reputable opponent. Canelo just did it and got his ass handed to him. So I don't think that's necessary. What we're looking at here is that the heavyweight boxing. The heavyweight division in boxing was everybody's favorite, and it's been gone away on the American side for a very long time, since Lennox Lewis.
Very long time.
I would agree with Rick that Ram, that when Tyson left, it was you had Evander Holyfield there for a second. You had you did have George Foreman in the wake of that and that kind of thing. And I think it was a good time for heavyweight boxing, but it kind of dwindled away. And so like once Lennox Lewis, I didn't like Lennox Lewis. Like, it wasn't that he couldn't box. I didn't like him, and I never even met him. I just didn't like him. Like, he shouldn't have had a belt.
Right.
And then how long did the Klitschko's reign over heavyweight boxing? So now there's been some great middleweights and lightweights. Roy Jones Jr., Bernard Hopkins, Trinidad,
Mark Breland.
Some great young ones.
Right.
Some great young ones right now.
But you remember now, Kevin and Tay, the boxing was collected to the Olympic boxing. So a lot of guys that went to Olympic, they turned pro after they won a gold medal. So that was like a platform precursor for a long time. But they took the air out of it. When they sent Mike Tyson in prison, I think that murdered boxing.
Yeah, well, Mike Tyson shouldn't be raping people. He shouldn't be raping people though, and they wouldn't.
I don't think it murdered boxing. I think it just took your favorite boxer off the market for a while. It didn't really murder the sport because right now the sport.
He was a big draw.
He went to jail.
Right, he's the biggest draw. He took your favorite boxer off of the market for a minute, but it didn't kill the sport because right now the sport is thriving. It's just that the best boxers aren't fighting each other. You got a lot of good welterweights and middleweights, but they're not fighting each other. Canelo jumped up 2 weights to avoid the Charlos and Benavidez and guys like that because they killers.
I think that Saturday night piece they're doing, Tay, it's gonna bring that boxing back to like where people gonna sit up and watch. Like I used to watch boxing matches and learn from the guys, and then when the match is over, I go out to the club. I mean, and they actually have some good fights that will come on Saturday night.
Friday night fights.
Man,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
that's where I found Floyd Mayweather at. Is Friday night fights and that kind of thing. My wife and I will watch the hell out of some boxing. They don't even got to be two name brand dudes if they going at it. But that's why
Right.
they call it the sweet science. Sean Moore said, the judging in boxing is fucking ridiculous. It's like Bud and the Bucks. Shit just ain't working. He said he said Tyson brought a
I thought I
storyline.
was the only person that liked Bud. I'm glad I know somebody else. Thanks a lot, brother Sean. Keep it 100, man.
Listen, Tyson, we referenced Tyson going to prison. Like, first of all, he was accused of rape, right? Which is
Tyson brought a storyline.
We don't know what happened in that room, but I do know one thing. And when I read the police report, Mike Tyson said that he removed a sanitary napkin and engaged in oral sex. To me, that should be 3 to 5 years automatically. So, I'm sorry, Mike.
Oh, wow.
Mike will be in Milwaukee looking for me. Motherfucker, where you see that at? Like, yeah. So,
Wow.
But he said, Sean Moore said you're more than welcome. What else you got, Tank, before I cut the machine off? You said you wanted to discuss a couple of things.
One last thing, man. I just want to give notice to a couple of football camps that are coming up.
Okay.
For youth camps. And what I have here, the first camp is called the Milwaukee Mentorship Camp, and that's going to be at Wisconsin Lutheran. And the date for that camp is June 16th, 11 to 12, and that's a high schooler camp. That's from grades 9 through 12. It's at Wisconsin Lutheran, and there's going to be some other college coaches there checking kids out. So if you're a high school football player, you definitely want to go to that camp this year. And also, the Messwood Youth Camp is coming up June 13th through June 17th. I'm on the Messwood coaching staff. I'll be working with the running backs. That camp is, like I said, from June 13th through June 17th. And if you need more information on that, you can contact the ShorewoodRecreation.com. ShorewoodRecreation.com. And this
or why don't you send me the information and I'll put it in the People's Network. The People's
okay, great.
Network.
I'll do that.
So I'll share it out. So Sean said, repeat that. I can get you that information, Sean. Tank will send it to me. I'll put it in the chat. Listen, once again, I want to reiterate how that I feel a certain kind of way about those 14 children murdered today, along with those 10 elderly Black people who were intentionally targeted last week in Buffalo. I am totally, and I'm a gun guy. I keep saying this. I love guns. Like I believe in. I appreciate the engineering in firearms. So I'm an advocate for the responsible ownership of firearms. But we definitely have a situation in our country right now, and some conversations are going to have to be had, and some legislation is going to have to be passed. I like somebody said during this show that in order to get something, you got to give up something, right? So some of us as gun owners, people like myself, people who really, advocate for the legal owning and possession of firearms, we're gonna have to give up something. I don't want to go too far. I don't want to be overregulated, and I don't want to be over policed. But I think just for the good, the greater good, I think something needs to happen. Because we have a problem here in Milwaukee with gun violence, and it's affected our community super, super, super hard for the last 3 years because we've been smashing the homicide record, even though that the curfew was only initiated for downtown, right? It shows you where the heart is. That's a conversation for Outlaw Radio. Brother Ajamu Butler will be on tomorrow night promoting Heal the Hood. He'll have some sponsors with him. I'm trying to connect he and Chantel Gwynn so she can get those donors. I think she said they had a successful event last Saturday and they actually found some donors. So, we always try to support Chantel Gwynn with that. Tank, this message is for you from Sean. My son got invited to a camp in Beloit, but I don't recall the name. Maybe you do and can share it. Yeah, man, I'll get that information for you, man. Listen, it's about intentional solidarity, man. One nation, man. We got to show these people that we're together. And once we show them, we got to really do it, right? Like it really got to be about us because no bus is coming to save us. And I damn sure ain't waiting on the oppressors to give me a helping hand. I do understand the conflict of interest the state of Wisconsin has if they do anything that would be effective in helping Black people because it would cripple their profitable prison system. right? You have to understand that, right? So I do understand that they're not going to really come up with any true solutions. So we always say, man, know your role, man, and make sure that if you know if you ain't part of the solution, you're part of the problem. But if none of that makes sense to you, please understand that in the words of the great Willie D, if your criticism of the black community outweighs your contribution, you're probably a coon. I'll see y'all tomorrow night, man, for Outlaw Radio, man. Peace and love.
These niggas wishy-washy, snitchy like Takashi. I remember back to days on money in my pocket. Now I'm styling like a rich nigga's closet. Now hear my Samuel L. voice. What's in your wallet? I got that fire. I got that fire.